welcome everyone. I can see by some of the names here on the screen that most of you already know me, but we'll do some of the introductions in just a second. So it's fantastic to have you all around during this webinar. Just FYI, there will be also a second webinar this afternoon, particularly for those of you in the US time zone. So just as information. Anyway, so welcome to the Store Link. This is a live preview webinar. We will be presenting today the two products that we're launching in one single platform on the 1st of April. We will be speaking about these two products for the next probably around 30-35 minutes. So we'll leave hopefully 10 minutes at the end of the call for any Q&A. So if you have any questions, please submit them during the presentation, and then we'll ensure we have time at the end to properly address your questions. So let's kick it off. Let's start with some introductions. So maybe I'll pass it over to you, Alyssa.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nico. And hello, everyone. Very, very happy to be here. I am responsible for product on GelatoConnect. So I'm here to share with you all the things that we've been building for 7 years now in GelatoConnect. We are really excited to bring all of that to you. I've been with Gelato for 10 years, and I've never been more excited about the opportunity to share creativity and to share the opportunity to build your own e-commerce company as I am today. So looking forward to sharing more later on.
Thank you, Alyssa. And great to have you here with us. Toby, let's go with you.
Hi, everyone. Great to see lots of familiar faces or familiar names on the call. So I'm Toby. I'm based in London, and I joined Gelato in 2019. And I'm responsible for order intake. So this is all the different channels that we receive your orders into Gelato and the ways that we send out order updates as well. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing more about StoreLink in this webinar.
Great. Thank you, Toby. And I think looking at the screen, I think most of you already know me. But if you haven't, my name is Nico. I'm a Senior VP of Product. So I work very closely here with Toby, Alyssa, and other people in product in Gelato and GelatoConnect. I've been here in Gelato for, I think now getting closer to 10 years. Worked with Alyssa very close back in the day on our consumer business. So very close relationship to the expectations of your end customers with regards to the products that you produce, the quality of those products, the price, and the delivery, right, which is key. And in the last few years, been working very closely with GelatoConnect, looking very much at the end-to-end experience for both our programmatic and our apparel workflow. And StoreLink is a key engine of growth when we look at GelatoConnect. So excited to present and speak to you about that during today. All right, so let's kick it off. StoreLink. I think we spoke a lot about this when we had our customer summit a couple weeks ago, but StoreLink is basically the engine that allows you to get basically orders from anywhere. And in the world of programmatic and apparel, or digital and apparel, we split it into two different products. So first you have StoreLink Ecommerce, and this is what Alyssa will be speaking about more during this webinar, and she'll be demoing the solution we have so far and where we're taking it. But this is the engine that allows you to connect to basically any store, any e-commerce store that is hosted by any POD platform, whether that is Shopify, Etsy, Amazon, TikTok Shop, WooCommerce, and more, right? So if you have a shop that is hosted on any of these POD platforms, or you have customers who have stores hosted on any of these POD platforms, you can get StoreLink, or you can use StoreLink to connect directly these stores into GelatoConnect. And we'll speak about all the functionality that allows you to do that, with clicks and minutes and not days and weeks. And that means that any order that goes through these stores on these POD platforms automatically goes into GelatoConnect as an order ready for production. So that's the ease of integration with the e-commerce POD platforms. So that's StoreLink e-commerce. On the other side, we have StoreLink Web to Print. So we've heard from many of our customers that they use existing solutions to provide their B2B customers with dedicated storefronts. These are the likes of Infigo and Pressero and some others. So, and we've heard during the journey now, working with many of you closely, that those tools do not necessarily scale as we're scaling with GelatoConnect. They're very unflexible. They do not evolve as quickly as they need to. And as a consequence, brings a lot of friction in the way that they want to grow with their B2B clients. So now we are actually taking the step to remove the need of using for you to use those tools. And with StoreLink Web to Print, basically you can offer branded B2B storefronts to your corporate clients. Again, removing the need of using, any disconnected legacy tools that today you're using to run those B2B storefronts, whether it's internally built by your team or whether you're leveraging a third-party software. So Toby will speak a little bit about that, and we have a demo store that we'll share with you and the very cool and exciting functionality that is coming into play. We have already more than actually 14 customers, so I didn't have time to update this on time ahead of the webinar, but we have several customers that have already signed for the StoreLink launch. We'll speak a little bit around the commercial launch date, which is the 1st of April, what happens from now until then, and what will happen from the 1st of April going forward. But we are building both the StoreLink e-commerce and the StoreLink Web to Print together with the 14 customers who have already signed. So we've been engaging with most of you, if not, I think most of you during the past week, and we will continue to do so as we get closer to the end of the month. All right. Remember, if you have any questions, just post them through. We'll take them at the end of the webinar. With that said, I will then pass it over to you, Alyssa, where you can speak a little bit more around StoreLink e-commerce.
Thank you, Nico. And again, just want to reiterate how excited I am to be working with PSPs and production partners like yourselves. In my journey at Gelato, as Nico mentioned, I've worked on the consumer side. I have worked on the B2B side. I've now worked on Create. And it's so exciting to now work with the wonderful partners that help us to offer what we do to Gelato Create. So what do we want to bring you when it comes to the power of e-commerce? So what this is truly doing is allowing you to play in the e-commerce world. Some of this we already have, some of it we're improving, and I'll also be sharing some of what we're going to bring to you in the next few weeks. So StoreLink e-commerce is really connecting you, as I said, to the e-commerce world. The first step of that is to have a storefront. So we do offer a easy one-click connection to platforms like Shopify, Etsy, TikTok, Amazon, and more. We're adding new integrations as they come up, also deepening integrations. For example, as TikTok goes into new markets. All of these, by the way, come with bulk operations, which we've also been improving and stabilizing and making much, much faster as part of our improvement in connection with StoreLink. So if you have customers who have even hundreds of thousands of listings on Shopify, Etsy, TikTok, and Amazon, it's easy for us to bring those over to StoreLink without you having to do any work. AI-powered listings. So I'll show you a little bit of an example later on when we talk more about product pages. But what we really want you to be able to do is compete with what we want you to be able to do and your customers to be able to do is we want you to be able to compete with the best in e-commerce. So when we talk about AI-powered listings, it's about really translating your brand voice or your customer's brand voice into something really unique. So that should come across in all of your listings, written listings, the way you name things, the way you talk about FAQs, and even images and videos that you put on your product pages.
And Alyssa, one question here is, listings sometimes need to have the specific metadata to be discoverable in some of these POD platforms like TikTok and Amazon. So when you mention around the power of building AI powered listings, including titles, descriptions, does that come with the efficiencies that are needed to make these listings more discoverable on some of these platforms?
Yeah, we are actually diving deep, deep, deep into SEO and what's also called GEO or AEO, so generative engine optimization or answer engine optimization, which is not just the old SEO. How do the Googles of the world find you, but now how does ChatGPT find you or your customers? So we are making sure that everything we have learned is brought to you in kind of under the hood, actually. So it's a little bit hidden, but we should talk about that these are SEO, GEO optimized, everything that we give you out of the box. So It's not even on this slide because I couldn't fit it. But for example, we can offer an out-of-box help center that is also SEO and geo um, powered. We also have, things that are coming down the pipeline, automatic blog generation, a lot of really exciting stuff that you can add to sites to make sure that they're discoverable and that you're able to compete also on the organic traffic scene, because we know that paying for traffic is one thing. We know that from, our days with consumer, we know that from create, but also being able to supplement that with visibility on Google, on LLMs is super important for you to be able to run your business profitably.
All right, super cool.
Yeah. And then easy order management. I know that right now it's not the easiest to bring, people into your platform. We're going to make that much, much easier. I'll be able to show you how that works. And it's not just about inviting and managing invites, it's about what permissions do you set? How do you make sure that people on your team have the right level of permissions, that they are able to do what they have to do, but not more. This is, as we talk more and more about security, um, I think this is also something we can dive into either here or on a future webinar, but we're super um, serious about security. So permissions is a big part of that, and control access. So you'll have full control there. And then last thing is the full white label. We want your brand to be everywhere. You have worked to build your brand, you've worked to define your brand, and we want to make sure that that brand is, properly conveyed across the platform. Yeah. So now I can talk a little bit about not just what we have and are improving, but what was is coming up. So um, building your own catalog, what products should be shown, what pricing should there be? Should there maybe be different prices for different, customers who are coming on so that you can, uh, create your own price strategy there? We'll give you full control over all of that. That's really the heart of your e-commerce experience. And this is what I was mentioning also. What's the next step of the e-commerce experience is the product pages. So what we're working on right now is the ability to configure these product pages automatically based on some information that is just known. So things like care instructions or materials, you shouldn't have to fill in any of that. Also, there are parts of this, the way that you name products, the way that you talk about descriptions, that should be brand specific. So are you a playful brand? Are you serious? How does that come through from this very page? What kind of designs do you want on your the image of the product there? Do you want videos? We can offer down the line the ability to create little videos to really compete with the Zalandos and these e-commerce brands who are using video more and more as a form of expression. Um, Personalization Studio is a big one for Create and should be for you too. Personalization is one of the most important tools that you can give your customers because in a world of e-commerce, being able to personalize, make something beautiful and special to the end customer means that you're going to be able to not just charge a higher rate, which is important for profit and to distinguish yourself from the rest of the market, but also to make sure that this is something that people love and will actually use. And lastly, these are all things that we either have or are bringing to Gelato Create. And so, what we've done by working much, much more closely with Toby, Nico, and the rest of the GelatoConnect team is ensure that what we are building on Gelato Create will flow into the platform that you're using and that we can also get feedback from you on how that's working and learn more. It's a win win win.
Cool. Alyssa, one question. We have some customers here on the call that have their customers, or they have certain brands that they produce for that offer products, call it, for example, drinkware bottles or or mugs like this one, where their customers have a defined kind of like design, and then you can personalize it, for example, with your name using their own font styles and so forth. So when you speak about personalization studio, is this solely for just new designs that you want to offer your customers to personalize, or can they expect that they can actually bring that personalization into the personalization studio functionality on StoreLink?
Yeah, so what we really see is that on Gelato Create is that the Shopify merchant wants to be able to set their own personalization. So that's a level that we want to also offer our Sterling customers. So, for example, um, even in this it's quite small, but we can offer in-app personalization on Shopify, for example, where you can put in names that are special to you. You can already put in initials. We also offer over Etsy a form of personalization that where you can upload an image. There's a lot of special personalization that can take place, but that should probably be defined not just by the people on this call, but then their customers as well. So we're diving into that and seeing how we can bring this technology to all of you.
All right, super. So should we share a little bit around how Sterling e-commerce is starting to shape up?
Absolutely. And here you also see, just briefly, there was the another example of a PDP page, or product design details page is what we call it in our vernacular, where you can see a moving image. So bringing it more in line with the best e-commerce. So yeah, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you a little bit of what we've been working on, some a work in progress, and some just to give you a taste of what's coming down the pipeline. All right. So here is an example of, this is a prototype, but what we want to be able to offer you is the ability to, down the line, to uh, really create a dashboard that makes sense to you. So, one of the things that's really important is the onboarding experience for a merchant that's going to be shopping on Shopify. So, what would we be allowing you to do is to even by different customer segments, to be able to personalize this dashboard. Uh, should you be driving people towards a first order? Do you want to offer samples? Do you want to offer a discount for a first order? How do you really get people to come through the door and try you out? It's a simple but big question. So we allow today on Create the ability to set up onboarding steps that are particular to customers. So we'd like to bring some of that to you. Um, I envision that we're going to bring some things out of the box so that you don't have to start from scratch. You can learn from what we've done, and do things like offer bestsellers. What is best selling? What is trending? What's new, etc. In your catalog. So you can really highlight things that you would like to highlight, and not just rely on people to discover the catalog themselves. As we have deeper and deeper catalogs, and as we see the best practices from e-commerce, it's really about how do we help people to discover and curate the catalogs themselves, as well as offering more and more choice. One thing that I mentioned was user management. This is all, by the way, if anyone is worried, this is mock data. As I said, we do take our security seriously. But you'll be able to add users and then also to set and to manage permissions for them. So you would be able to add a user, um, put in yourself their name, email, phone number, etc. And you can also control access. I'll show you what that looks like. So, for example, if Sophia has restricted access, what we offer today on the Create side that we want to bring to you is that we offer things like, should they be able to access analytics? Should they be able to export? Should they be able to add products to the catalog? So you could have pretty granular permissions on the teammate or the merchant that you are onboarding. You'd also have an overview of the orders, different order statuses, being able to do this. One thing that is really exciting that's coming to Create soon is what we call Order Sentinel. So having a high level view of all the orders that are coming through. If you have orders that have problems, so something that's stuck in transit, these things that happen once in a while, you'll be able to proactively request some sort of action. So we have one-click resolutions, for example, a reorder or something, so that you don't have to spend all your time managing orders and that you can be proactive towards your customers. Yeah, and then we have store management, so you'd be able to see all of the different stores that are attached to your white label POD. And I want to go into a little bit more exciting features that we have coming up. So one of them is the product details page. So this one, obviously, you see a gelato watermark here. You would be able to likely do that as well. But this is what we call a product details page. This is something that Sterling doesn't offer today, but we want to bring to you. This brings all of the information that a customer needs, a merchant needs, in order to offer this on their store, in one easy to recognize place. So you can set beautiful images to really sell the product, show what it looks like in real life, things like lay flats. We also have image guidelines that we can share. So it's not just about what we have here, but also what we empower you to do. What types of images are expected on these types of pages, and how can you get them? We then offer, this is all automatically pulled, things like what technologies are offering, what print techniques are available, what colors, sizes. You can set product prices, add it to store, etc. And then we can go into things like descriptions of the product. This is where you can then put a little bit of your own brand voice on and go into more specifications like the print areas that are available to you, the brands that we offer under this, print specifications, and it goes down. Please note that this is what is important to Gelato Create, but part of the idea of personalization is what is important to you. So we're also going to look into how can we offer the ability to move these things around, to remove, to add. So for us, for example, regional availability is important, but maybe that's not something that is as important to you. Yeah. So, we're going to look into how we offer you more ability to make this your own. But as a first step, what we want to do is to offer you the basic information without you having to do any configuration yourself. Another thing that we have is the Mockup Studio. So you will be able to more easily create mockups, templates that you can then offer onwards to um, the merchants that onboard, and eventually also allow the merchants themselves to create their own mockups. I wanted to do one last small kind of live demo because this is a fun one on our AI driven clip art studio and the ability to create art through AI. The main use case that we see here in Gelato Create is that people sometimes don't know how to get started. They get to the editor, they don't have any content there, and it's like, well, what do I want to order? So one powerful thing that we've seen uplift conversion rate is offer some content, offer trending content, offer seasonal content. So our clip art studio makes it really, really, really easy to do that. So you see that we have a folder system here. For example, Valentine's Day was about a month ago. So we have things like Valentine's Day bestsellers, love and romance, proposals, and engagement. Today is St. Patrick's Day. So I wanted to show you live, what it means to be able to generate SVG files for your editor. So for example, if you want to say St. Patrick's Day images in old Guinness style, this is something that's trending. And eventually we'll also be adding visibility on trends here, driven by AI. So it's not just around seasonal events and holidays, but you'll also be able to generate based on, for example, if Stranger Things is coming out, we've seen a spike in kind of nostalgia and certain eras that people want to generate images about. So let's just start with this. I'm giving it a very small prompt. And it will actually, as a first step, generate the AI prompts for me. So it'll give me some choices on how to then generate artwork further. And so let's see how it comes here. So it sounds like there's a shamrock harp emblem, a stout pint shamrock, and a leprechaun barrel. So we can kind of read into these. This sounds pretty good. So I want to generate a SVG. And see how this works out. I want something that's kind of like a vintage Guinness feel that I've seen popular on Instagram and TikTok. So yeah, that one's nice. And then I got one earlier that I liked as well. So this was more of like kind of like a lucky stout pint that I can then add. So I just click that. I can save it to a category. lost the category there, sorry. But yeah, anyway, I would save it to a category and then it would save to a folder. So yeah, I could do that with different ones. And then when I go to the editor to add a product, then these would be visible there. And you can do different types of images. And we're also going to add not just kind of the sticker style SVG, but we're going to also add the ability to generate any type of artwork. So we're excited to share that with you. And I think I will leave it there. I think that we have shared quite a bit.
Super. Thank you, Alyssa. I do see some questions coming up, so let's try to take one before we move on to StoreLink Web to Print. So one of them says, I already have a merchant on Shopify. Can I quickly move them into StoreLink Ecommerce, and what would change for them?
Yeah, definitely. So, what would change is a couple, I would say, major things. So, one is around bulk operations. So, you would be able to use our bulk migration tools to bring them over right away. So, easy for you. You just have to click a couple buttons. So, they would be able to be brought into the platform very, very quickly. Secondly, things like admin control. So, when your customer has a Shopify outside of this platform, you don't really have visibility on you know, the orders, all of that stuff in one place. So you would have full admin control over users, orders, the stores themselves. You would be able to see, for example, if it gets disconnected. So you would have a lot more visibility than you have today.
All right, super. Great stuff. Thanks, Alyssa. All right, Toby, let's move then to Web to Print.
Yeah, great. So StoreLink Web to Print. So this has actually been one of the probably most heavily requested features, which I've been asked about over the past couple of years in GelatoConnect. So I'm very excited that we're finally launching this. So with StoreLink Web to Print, essentially your customer, they can have their own branded storefront, and your customer can invite their employees as users to that storefront. And those employees, they can place orders on the storefront behind a kind of a private portal. One of the key features of sorry, as you can see on the right hand side here in the demo, this is fully customizable to that customer's branding as well, and I'll show you how that's done. So a key feature on Web to Print StoreLink is around the templates with personalization. So your customer, they will be able to design once a template. They'll be able to say which areas of that template are editable, and then their users will be able to only edit those specific areas on the template. So for example, for a business card, it will be just editing maybe the name and the job title. Another key feature that we're launching with Web to Print StoreLink is the approval workflows. So we know it's a very common use case where a print service provider may not want to automatically have orders over a certain value head straight into production. Either your customer or yourself, so you may want to approve that order before it's sent directly into production. And the final point I'll highlight here is that with StoreLink Web to Print, once the user on the store places the order, as I say, those orders flow straight into GelatoConnect workflow. So this is a natively integrated platform with GelatoConnect. You're no longer relying on multiple systems, multiple different legacy Web to Print solutions. This is all combined directly into GelatoConnect. So we're replacing and reducing the number of legacy systems you have here. Perhaps if we could move on to the next slide. And
all right.
Yeah.
One question just that came up that maybe we can take. I think it's better also if we take the Q&A as we move along. But there's a question here around the custom domain. So is this expected to be the domain of their own customers? Is this going to be a domain that will have the GelatoConnect brand? What is the flexibility that we expect here?
So we've got a lot of flexibility when it comes to the domains for the stores. So, for example, your customer, they could use their own domain name. So we could use marketingmaterialshub.com if that is the domain name that your customer wants. You could even use your own domain name. So you could have your own print service provider name as the URL as well. It's really up to you on the level of flexibility you want here.
Okay, so what you're saying is in this example of Mercedes, it could be, mercedes.marketing.com. It's you're a PSP called, PSP name. It could be PSP name dot, mercedes.com, right? It gives a lot of that flexibility, right?
Yep, exactly.
All right.
Yep. This is, in this demo, I'll show you how you can create a branded store for one of your corporate clients. So this is an example of one of those stores. So Marketing Printing Hub, and you can see I've got it on a custom domain name here. So this page here is fully customizable by either yourselves as a print service provider or as the customer, and I'll show you how that's done. So you and your customer have access to an admin panel here. You can add additional pages if you want, with descriptive information about perhaps how employees using that store should use that store. If also like terms and conditions, contact pages, pricing pages, for example. But I'll show you how we edit the homepage. So let's go on to click edit here. And as you can see, we've got a drag and drop editor here, where you can click onto elements. So let's click onto this element here, and you and your customer can change the colors, you can change the text, you can change the items which are in that section. So really you have full customization here of how the store looks. You can even add, we've got a number of pre-built blocks which you can add into the page as well. So for example, if I add in the social proof block, you can see that you've got customer reviews, and for example, let's add in the comparison table. So lots of useful elements which can be used to really customize and make these stores really unique per customer. So next, if we go back to the store, I will show you an actual product. So let's go through the checkout journey. So if I click on this product here, it's a business card. And you can see here we've got the front and back preview. And I've now selected the back option. And all of this is customizable. So you can change the text here, you can change the text here, you can choose the images which are displayed here as well. And when I say you, that's you as a PSP or your customer. So here we've actually got a real-time preview as the customer is editing. So here I can say, I'll say Toby, and you can see that we're updating the business card in real time, so you can preview it before you check out. So let's do toby.awesome@gelato.com. There you go. So you can see it's updated in real time. And I'll just show you how this is actually configured as well. So let's come back onto our editor. So here in the editor, we've got the front and the back. So on the front, there is no personalization, but let's click on the back. And on the back, we are setting the name, or these values here, we're setting these as personalizable. So if I click on that, we can see that this has been marked as personalizable, and we've also provided the default value for that piece of text. So you can see here we've got other elements on the page, but these are currently not personalizable. So on this example, there's just text which is personalizable, but we can also personalize the images as well. So you could say this image here can be personalized, and that means that the customer on the checkout or on the product details page here, the customer would be able to upload an image for it. So it's really up to the admin of the site to decide which elements can be customized and personalized on these products. So with that, I'll actually proceed to checkout. So we can click buy now. And here you can provide the address where this item should be delivered. Do that. And I'll say United Kingdom. And we will check out. So continue to shipping. Here you can use, here we will pull through the GelatoConnect logistics rates, and we can display a customer markup, which can be unique for each customer as well. So, and you define this customer markup within your GelatoConnect logistics account. So let's select standard shipping, continue to review. At this stage, your customer can review the order, and you've also got the option to supply a PO number, which the feedback we've had is that this is very useful for when you want to aggregate your invoicing. For example, if you didn't want to invoice your client for every individual order, you want to group them into batches. So let's now we can actually submit that order, and that order goes. It can either head straight into production in GelatoConnect, or as I mentioned earlier, we can use order approval limits also. So you could say, if this order is over $500 in value, then we need to have a user approve that order before it heads into production. And that user could be you as a PSP, or it could be maybe an admin user for your customer. So yeah, I think that's the main part of the demo here, really.
Right.
If I stop sharing.
Super, Toby. Quite a lot of engagement now on B2B. So my take is, I think maybe we can take one or two questions before we continue here. So first one is, do I need to have clients on this B2B stores, or can I create my own B2B store that my sales team can use, for example?
Definitely. So you can do both. You can give this tool to your client. They can design their own stores if they want to, and they can invite their own employees to use that. Or you can actually just use the software yourself, and your customers can either order directly using your store, or you could even use it internally. Your employees, they could order through this store as well. So it's an easy way of ingesting your orders directly into GelatoConnect workflow.
Right. So quite a lot of flexibility.
Definitely.
Okay, let's take one more before we continue. There's a question around fonts. So customers, my customers may have specific fonts linked to their brand. What is the flexibility in terms of the customization of fonts that we can expect?
Yeah, certainly. So we provide, we've got out of the box range of fonts, which you and your customers can use. But we also have the flexibility for you to actually upload your own fonts directly into the editor to be used as well.
So basically, the flexibility is limitless.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Then looking at the time, we have about 6 minutes or so. So we have a few things to cover before we wrap up, but I think we have been covering most of the Q&A as we go. All right. So very quickly here. So this is one platform. So both products in one single platform, but you have the flexibility of actually purchasing or signing up for a separate product. If you have POD customers in POD platforms, or your own stores in POD platforms, then StoreLink e-commerce might be a more relevant product. If you have B2B customers, or you need B2B facing storefronts, then web to print may be a solution. Here you can see the monthly fee for each of the products, as well as the installation fee. Installation fees, our team also supporting you to onboard your stores into the e-commerce store link, or to help build and onboard your existing storefronts B2B to web to print. And bundling together, you get 25% discount, both across the monthly fee and the installation fee. This is a flat monthly fee, and we offer and continue to offer a 3-month satisfaction guarantee. We are on here with the main goal of helping you scale with your customers, whether they are in e-commerce or B2B, with a direct integration with StoreLink. And that is our primary goal, right? Any questions around pricing, or some of you that are not yet signed up to StoreLink, you can also feel free to reach out directly to your point of contact on sales, and happy to discuss this more in detail. This is a fraction of the cost. Just to give a perspective, we speak with many and some of you and many of you around the amount you pay monthly today for your standalone, solutions, different tools, different online, offline, different people, right? So for a fraction of the cost, you get actually access to scalability, both on the e-commerce side and the web to print. So a little bit around timelines. So today we're working very closely with all of our existing sign-up customers. We have 14 of them. We have engaged with most of them. If you have not received a contact for us, you will be receiving a contact directly from one of us or your implementation lead. So we're working very closely on shaping the commercial launch. We will be engaging with some of you ahead of the 1st of April as we start to test some of the integrations, both on the POD e-commerce side as well as the B2B web to print storefronts. 1st of April is the launch day. It's not an April Fool's date. It is actually 1st of April. So very excited about this commercial launch. And then we will continue to refine the product after launch. Based upon your feedback, which we already have some. So maybe we can spend a couple minutes on what's coming up next, starting maybe with you, Alyssa.
What's coming on the e-commerce side? A lot. It's not even all captured here, but the artwork generator that I showed you there will share more information. So AI-aided design, artwork generation, be able to be on top of trends and seasonal events. Custom products. So being able to offer any product in our editor in a great way with no engineering support. User management, which we touched on, inviting and managing users, including setting permissions and control of access, something that is very, very important for security and for saving you time. And then lastly, product pages. So how do you make these product pages look beautiful and sell like those top e-commerce brands, ensuring that you and your merchants can bring your brand voice to life?
Yeah, fantastic. And one important thing here before we move maybe to web to print is that now Storelink sits under the same platform supporting both Gelato Create and also Storelink e-commerce. So all the investments that we continue to do and give to Gelato Create as a platform is automatically resulting in benefits to you. There are some questions, for example, around translations and the Q&A. Guess what? We have Gelato Create across many markets globally with translations out of the box. So that is the power of how we are revisiting this launch for Storelink. And it's an important consideration for all of you. Okay, moving into web to print here, Toby.
Yep. So a lot coming up. So firstly, we'll be working on additional order approval criteria. So we're making it so different roles have access to approve different orders, and also adding in criteria. Say, for example, only add order approval for certain product types, for example. So a lot of work to do on improving order approval controls. We'll also be improving order tracking as well. So currently it's very easy for you as a PSP to track your orders and for your customers, admin users, to track the progress of their orders as well. We want to make it easy for the employees of your customers to also very easily track the status of their orders as well. We'll also be launching enterprise single sign-on solution. So really allowing you to sell to these bigger accounts. As Alyssa mentioned earlier, we do take security very seriously, and this is a requirement which many larger enterprises really need. And finally, another feature which I'm really looking forward to launching, and this is we're calling it a punch-out integration. And this is effectively, it will be allowing your enterprise customers, it will be allowing their employees to order using their existing purchasing systems. So they won't even need to leave their existing purchasing system. So yeah, a really great feature there.
Super. Last slide before we wrap up. So if you're already a signed customer for Storelink, expect some communication from our team, either myself, Toby, Alyssa, or your implementation lead. If you're interested on Storelink and you want to see and speak more with us around your needs, whether it's e-commerce or web to print, you can book a call, easily use this QR code to set up a time that works best for you on the calendar that is available. And any further questions, please reach out to your closest contact, and happy to take those as they go. Other than that, thank you, everyone. Love the engagement with the great questions, and looking forward together with Toby and Alyssa, working closely with all of you as we look at the launch on the 1st of April. Other than that, we'll catch up later.